Hello everyone. Today the topic of our discussion is policies and education. Now I would like to tell you one story. There were three pigs and the three pigs wanted to construct their house. The first pig constructed a house which was made up of hay, and in constructing that house he took around 1 week. The another pig constructed a house which was made up of the wood, and this pig took around a month to construct this house. Then there was a third pig. So this third pig, he also constructed a house which was a pakka house, which was made up of concrete, and for him it took around 6 months. So as the news of pigs, new flats, new houses spread, one wolf came trying to find if he could sneak in and have some good meat. So this wolf did not had any problem in entering the first pig's house because it was made up of straw hut. So in that straw house he could easily enter. He entered the house and he ate the pig. Then he went to the second house, which was made up of wood. Here he had to make some efforts to enter the house, but still he succeeded in entering the wooden house and he ate the pig. Then he went to the third house, which was a pakka house. He tried to put lots of efforts to enter that brick hut, but it was all unsuccessful. He could not succeed to enter that house as it was secured from all sides. So the lesson from this story is that we need to develop a strong and secure nation. We need to plan and develop our policies and institutions to withstand the unforeseen situations. So we also have to think that we are making the policies which will take into consideration the unforeseen situations, though we may take a longer time in designing them. What is policy? So policy is a set of principles or rules or guidelines or standards which are guiding the decisions. Decisions for what? To achieve the rational outcome by any organization. So we can typically define it as a principle or rule to guide the decisions which will help you in achieving the rational outcomes. So we can simply say policy is a course of action adopted by an organization. Or in other words, we can also say policy is a strategy, that is, means a plan of action to do something. That can be how to increase the gross enrollment ratio. And what are the plans? What are the strategy you are going to use for increasing the gross enrollment ratio? Now, what is the relationship between policy and education? We do find that there is a direct relationship between policy and education. So, if you want to know the existing education system, if you want to understand the defects of existing system, if you want to give suggestions to improve the education system, if you want to give new direction to the education, and to know how the policy is implemented and what is the impact on the education system, all these are the different areas for which you will have some kind of commissions wherein there will be some committees. So, all these recommendations are based on these commissions and committees. And when these commissions and committees, they try to understand the present education system, when they try to understand the defects of the existing system, then they come out with certain suggestions. And these suggestions then lead to the improvement of education by coming out with policies. So, the policy and education are interrelated. Policies will help the education department to establish the rules and procedures and to create standards of quality for learning. Like now you have the new education policy. So, that will help you now. This policy will help you that what rules you are going to lay down. The policy talks about interdisciplinary work. The policy talks about that all the departments should work in correlation. The policy talks about the sharing of credit. The policy talks about using the 3-language formula at school level. So, now with this policy, you have to bring the changes in the rules and the regulations. So, to achieve any educational goals, the policies are very important. So, this education sector will also suggest the schemes or series of steps through which sound and workable policies can be formulated. The people who are in the education sector, they take up the research. They come out with certain suggestions and they will tell you what are the workable policies, how these policies can be formulated, and then how this effective planning can be put into effect, how this planning can be evaluated, how this planning can be redesigned. So, for the development of any nation, the formulation of good educational policy is essential. If your educational policies are good, then the nation will develop, because education is the base which will help you in creating the different personals, the different skilled manpower which are going to then contribute in the national development. So, there is a need that we bring an effective improvement in education, so that this will benefit the future generation. So, there should be an effective policies which will benefit the future generation. So, various policies we have introduced in the various over the years to promote education and skill development. We have some integral policies related to education that was recently introduced. Digital payment, like all the payments in the school should be made digitally. There should be no detention policy. Fine. So these are some of the examples that how these policies and education are interrelated. Now, what is the relationship between educational policy and national development? Educational policy and national development are directly related. The productivity of a nation can be increased through the educational policy. If you have the skilled manpower, if you train your employees, if you have the trained people in the society, then the productivity can be increased. So educational policy will take care of that. Like in our present educational policy, the new educational policy, we have focused on the skill development. If you will have variety of skilled manpower, if you focus on the vocationalization, which is again a focus in the new education policy, then definitely you will have the skilled people. You will have the people who are trained in different vocations, and they will be able to contribute to the productivity. So in this way, educational policy and national development are related. This will also help in increasing the income, the individual income, and this individual income will then add on to the national income. So if I am trained, if I am skilled, if I am educated, definitely either I will be employable by somebody, or I can generate my own resources, I can get self-employment, or I can generate employment for others. With this, I can increase my income. With this, I can add in the national development. Not only increase my income, but also I can even generate the employment for the others. Education policy also helps in creating manpower resource, the human capital. Human beings become a capital, human beings become a resource only when they are skilled and when they have some kind of capability that they can add to the nation. If they are not skilled, then they are a liability for any nation. So this will help in making the human capital. It develops the manpower resources. The manpower becomes the resource. Why are we saying that India is going to become a superpower in the coming days? Because the population of our young generation is more. So we can have more human capital. Fine. So we have to work on it. So this educational policy is targeting towards it, that the young generation population is more. So if we capitalize on this, if we train this resource, if we get this skilled power, if we give them proper direction through the right education policy, then they can be the human capital, they can be the important manpower resource for the nation. It also leads to social, cultural and moral development. Like the premise of the new education policy is the cultural development. How we can preserve our own culture, how we can bring our ancient laurels back. India was a nation wherein the foreigners used to come to study at that time. We had Nalanda, we had Takshashila, we had very good Gurukul systems. Now this educational policy has focused on the same thing, that we should preserve that our ancient rich culture. We should transmit our culture, and this will help in the cultural development, this will help in the moral development, this will help in the social development, wherein we are talking about the value education also. That our youth should get proper value education, the moral development should be the focus. We are also focusing on the yoga, on the mental health, on the physical health. So all these are the component of the education policy, and through this education policy only we can lead them to the national development. If our future generation is cultured, is full of moral, that means we are creating a better citizens for the society, which will help in the national development. It will also enhance the trade skills. We will have skilled manpower. Our trade will increase. Our exchange will increase. And it will give the skills to get rid of poverty. So education is one of the important fundamental tool to eradicate the social evils, to eradicate the problems such as poverty, unemployment and illiteracy. And if you can eradicate these social evils, these social problems of poverty, unemployment, illiteracy, I think we are moving towards the national development. So this education policy will help you how to get rid of poverty. If it gives you skill, if it gives you capability to earn your livelihood, obviously the poverty is reduced. If it is a skilled education, if the education policy is proper, and if it is creating the people who are skilled, that means increasing their employability, then definitely the unemployment will reduce. The education policy talks about increasing the gross enrollment ratio. Everybody should get an education. Education is the right of every child. So that will reduce your illiteracy. It will also resolve your health problem, and a healthy citizen is a asset to a nation. So in this way, we can say that yes, there is a relationship between an educational policy and a national development. So how policies and education are related? How educational policy and national development are related? So we have seen this in this video, and this is also one of the important content in your NET syllabus also. So in the next video, we will be talking about the determinants of the educational policy. So here we stop. Thank you.